Before we start the show, let's hear from one of our sponsors. Their support keeps this show free for you.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to paint their door a vibrant shade of blue. Others have the need to decorate their bathroom with fish, anchors, and other nautical items. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
Hi, I'm Michelle, a mother of 2 teens. 13 years ago, I traded in punishments and rewards for connection. Now I prioritize relationship over behaviors, utilize play as a parenting tool, and set limits with empathy instead of consequences. Each week, I share my journey and interview clients, experts, and followers. Thanks for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm Michelle, and I'm lucky to have a parent guest who's going to ask some questions, and we are going to dive in. So, hi, Shannon. Can you tell us who you are and who your kids are?
Yes. Hi, I'm Shannon, and I'm joining you today from Canada. I have 2 daughters, aged 7 and 9.
Lovely. Okay. And we are going to talk about sibling rivalry.
Yes, we are.
I think everybody who has siblings wants to know, what do I do with my kids when they're fighting? How can I remedy? What's the best approach? And so let's dive in there. Tell us about a recent situation that was hard.
Okay. Well, there was actually a big one just last night. My girls like to play games before bed, and they were playing a game called Spook, and everything was going really, really well until all of a sudden everybody was crying. So one child found her sister because she was hiding, and she didn't get scared, which upset her sister. So she reached out and pulled her hair really, really hard. And then she ran away because she knew that she would probably be in trouble for that. And the one whose hair got pulled, she ran away too, crying. And so my partner and I were sort of left wondering, we have to go after one, deal with the other, and we just... you get stuck in those moments.
Yeah, that's really hard. And it's hard for everybody and to know what to do. And emotions are really running high and everyone's like, now what do I do? I'm feeling like kind of stuck and everyone's feeling stuck. I get it.
Yes.
Let's rewind just a little bit. So the sibling relationship is this long and involved relationship that's been going on for 7 years because your youngest is 7. So for 7 years, it's like, she did this and then somebody else did that. And then someone's retaliating and someone's resentful and someone's mad because mom was on their side. And then someone's mad because mom was on the other person's side. And so we've got a lot of history of experiences. And so although it feels like it's about Spook in that moment.
Yeah.
There's everyone's coming with old hurts and upsets. And so she might not be pulling her hair only because she wasn't scared. She could be pulling her hair because she said something mean that morning, or they'd gotten into kerfuffle 20 minutes before and she was upset about it. And so I guess the point is nobody's right and nobody is ever wrong.
Right.
So I think if we can come with that idea of neutrality, which is really hard because especially when we see the aggression piece, when we see a kid really being aggressive towards their sibling, we immediately have feelings around that.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want them to think it's okay, but at the same time, resolving it with anger or more adult big feelings or aggression is not going to make that problem go away. So
no, it definitely isn't. So I guess, the idea is that how do we? So I think I like how you said she ran away because she thought she would be in trouble. And I think that's a piece of it. If we are never in trouble, then we are not going to come to fight, flight, or freeze as quickly. And that fight, flight, or freeze will be an internal fight, flight, or freeze that was, generated in our own shame, but it won't be this additional layer of like, oh, mom and dad are going to be mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we can start to unravel the idea that she's in trouble or that anybody is in trouble for anything ever, that there are no punishments, there are no rewards, there are no lectures there. And to be honest, correction doesn't really work either. So it is about the sibling rivalry, but it's also about all these kind of external things that we might need to take a little look at. Like maybe we have to get rid of any sort of judgment around who's right and wrong in a sibling fight.
Yeah, especially when it comes to physical aggression, realizing that the one who did it might also not be in the wrong. That's a tough pill as a parent to try and swallow.
Well, they're suffering. That's the reason they pulled the hair. They're suffering somewhere, right? They're like either there's an unmet need that isn't being met for them. Like they aren't getting the satisfaction they want, or they aren't getting the respect they think they need, or they aren't getting the, back and forth play that they think they deserve, or some unmet need is there. And so immaturely, they pull somebody's hair because they're in this fear. So aggression is a fear response, fearful that I'm not going to get an unmet need met. Yeah. And I'm going to take it out on the people closest to me, my brother and my sister. Yeah.
I actually, when I eventually went to speak to my daughter after she ran away, my eldest, her name is Scarlett. I went to talk to Scarlett and she said, Mommy, I was just so mad because I wanted her to be scared and she wasn't scared. And I just had to do something to scare her. So in her mind, she wasn't trying to hurt her. She was trying to scare her. And ended up just hurting her and making her upset. So she had it all rationalized in her mind at the time.
Totally. And I get that. And so then it's like, did it come from malintent?
It didn't. I don't think it did.
No.
Although the history, it has in the past. So it's like situational almost.
Well, or is she grasping onto that explanation because she's trying to remain out of trouble too?
I don't know. That stuff. She's my one kid that won't lie.
Yeah.
Not so for the other one, but
okay. Yeah. So then we take her at face value anyway. And even if she was lying, like, I don't even think that that's a bad thing. We lie because we're trying to get out of trouble.
Self-preservation, right?
Yeah. So the thing is that, okay, when we go to her, and I'm glad you went to her and talked to her about it. When we go to the kids, when they're having a fight, we say, hey guys, as opposed to like, Scarlett or Charlotte?
Scarlett. Yeah.
Scarlett, why did you pull your sister's hair? What were you thinking? We just come in calmly and say, what happened? What happened here, guys? What was going on? What happened? And maybe who knows who will go first? Maybe the victim, maybe the villain, so to speak.
Right.
Who's going to speak first? It's okay. It doesn't really matter. You say, what happened? Oh, I was mad because she wasn't scared. Oh, that made you mad. I understand. Empathy. Now we're trying to get her prefrontal cortex online. We're trying to get her thinking again because she's offline, not thinking in fight, flight, or freeze. In fight, really. And so if we ask her questions like, what happened? Oh, and we come with empathy. Oh, I understand. You thought that she wasn't scared and it made you angry. That makes sense. Empathy, lots of empathy. Now we get her back online. We go to her sister. What happened? She pulled my hair. It's not her. I was just playing the game. I can't help it. I wasn't scared. Oh, she pulled your hair. That was really hard. Without putting her sister under the bus, we say, sounds like you guys had a really hard time. This is unfortunate. I get it. You guys are struggling here. And if we can get them both back de-escalated here and online, then we have a better opportunity of resolution. But when we come in heightened with, you did X, Y, and Z, you're wrong. Now we push her completely to the side of my mom's mad at me. My sister made her mad at me. I'm mad at my mom. And now I'm mad at my sister. Now I'm mad at everybody. And then how will the next sibling interaction go?
Yeah. And I don't know if anyone, else sort of has a bit of a difference between how one parent handles it aside from how the other parent handles it.
Everyone has that.
Yeah. So I tend to be more like the person you describe who is like, tell me what happened. Tell me your side.
Yeah.
My partner, he is more like, how could you do this? That's just unacceptable. Hard line. And I am not about hard lines. So there's a bit of a difference there too.
Yeah, that's hard. And so we just keep modeling the way we want them to do it. And hopefully they see that it feels better, looks better, and resolves better. And then they'll glean and they'll hopefully follow our lead because there's no telling your partner, like, you're doing it wrong. I heard on this podcast, you're supposed to do it this way. And then they'll be like, yeah, whatever, lady. Like, I'm not listening to you and whoever's on that podcast.
Yes.
But yeah, I think if we can lead by example, that's the best we can do with our partners because we don't want to alienate them.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm typically the one who's present and taking care of it. And I think too, de-escalating myself in those situations when everyone's crying and I'm trying to assess how bad have you been injured? How serious is this? And, who do I talk to first? Do I go to the injured child first? Yes, I'm pretty sure that's what I tend to do. But,
and that's a really good question and point. I think the way I look at aggression is that if you don't get the aggressor feeling better, your aggression will never end. And sometimes going to the victim, so to speak, first makes the aggressor feel like they're wrong.
That's so interesting. I never thought of that. I always thought, you have to sympathize with the one who was hurt first because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think
really appreciate that point that you just made.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily wrong or right. I don't think we always want to go to the hurt one because then also it creates this idea that the hurt one needs to be protected and they feel like they need to be protected. So they could be like, because they want the attention. They don't want to be, also, if there's this idea of being in trouble, they don't want to be in trouble so that they are going to, maybe, who knows, embellish because they want that attention and connection with you. So it could create, even more upset on their end because they feel like, oh, I am the protected one. I need to be the protected one. My mom needs to come to me to make sure that I'm okay because I am the victim.
Mm-hmm.
And are we cementing the victim villain paradigm by sticking in that way?
I have so many light bulbs because we have a long sort of, history in my two girls' sibling relationship of one being the aggressor and the other being in that victim spot ever since like newborn, really. So there is that narrative that's there. And, I've always tried to sort of challenge that a little bit because you don't want your like Faith is my younger child. I don't want Faith to feel that she's, poor me, woe is me. But also I want to validate that it is challenging to be picked on, to be the one who always gets hurt. So
yes.
Yeah.
But I think that the better way to protect Faith is to help her sister because then the aggression stops.
We hope.
It will. I promise you it will. So I think what I try to recommend to parents is like, just, take 2 weeks or whatever it is, 10 days or whatever, and always respond to the aggressive one and see what happens. Now, that doesn't mean you don't respond to the one who's being hurt. I put a hand out to her, honey, are you okay? And no, that was really hard. And then you go straight to her sister. And how will that make her sister feel?
Probably a lot better.
Yeah. And if she feels better, then she'll do better.
Yes. I mean, and I know the thing is, what I struggle with the most is we have a little bit of an additional challenge with the aggression, mostly because impulse control is an issue for my eldest. And when Scarlett has impulse control troubles, her go-to is sort of, I'm going to do it before I've even thought about doing it. And so she knows that it's not good. She hates that she does it. She's communicated that to me. And she has this sort of self-loathing and doesn't want anyone to know that she's ever done that. And so I really want to nurture that love for herself, even though she does these things sometimes, doesn't mean that you're bad. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. But how do we control those impulses when her brain is sort of working against her in that regard?
Before we dive into the next segment, a quick shout out to our fantastic sponsors who make this free podcast possible.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to leave up holiday decorations year-round. Others have the need to use their garage as practice space for their new metal band. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
Are you sick of the sibling fighting? Are you tired of asking your child to do the same thing over and over and over again, only to end up using threats and bribes to try to get them to cooperate? Well, it doesn't have to be like that. You can learn the ideas of connection through our Connected Parent Mastermind group coaching program. We meet 3 days a week Myself and my 2 coaches hold meetings. We also give you access to all of my online materials, meaning 10 modules of instruction, PDFs, podcasts, and my book. You get to join our school community and interact with coaches and myself and so many parents who are doing this work just alongside you. So if you're feeling stuck, or if you want to accelerate your connected parenting practice even further, join the Connected Parent Mastermind. Click the link in the show notes for more information. Thanks for supporting our sponsors. Now back to the show. So connection is one of the ways in which our prefrontal, our thinking brain, our reasoning brain stays online.
Right.
Correction, reprimand, lecture, all those things keeps our thinking brain offline. So we can't mature her brain. There's no way. It is what it is. But what we can do is supply her with more connection so that it stays online more often. So when you respond to her with the connection, when she's in these offline moments, our goal is to get her brain back online so she can use it, because we know that when she has it back online, she's okay. The only reason that she can't have that impulse control, regulation is because she's offline.
Right.
It isn't in her online moments. It's only in her offline moments. And that is for every child.
Mm-hmm.
She just is having more offline moments because she's in need of more connection.
Yeah. And I think too, sometimes, I have to be a detective a little bit. Like, what was happening to you, before you went offline and hurt your sister. And with this specific example, we're playing a game where you do get scared. It's completely dark. With sensory, sort of challenges at our house, that can be putting everyone into a very heightened state. So it's sort of like the perfect storm. You're just waiting for something wrong to happen.
And if they're really struggling, what I say to parents for a little while, don't leave them alone. Really be in there and be close so that you can actually, I like to get my body in between to stop any sort of aggression. If I see it coming, use myself as the boundary.
Right.
And then go straight to the kid who's trying to be aggressive. And sometimes I offer a hug. Do you need a hug? You okay? What's happening here? And I might even do that right after the incident just to get them. They'll never believe that you think poorly of them because of their behavior when you do that.
Yeah.
Because the bigger thing is they get this shame piece, right? Like,
oh yes.
Yeah. And that shame piece, you could tell because she ran away. She might really be shame adverse too. Who knows?
She totally is. Yeah.
She is. So then it's like,
she was in flight. She was in flight and she articulated that. I wasn't trying to restrain her, but I went to grab her. Like, no, you don't need to run away. Like, let's talk about it. And she just kept saying, I need to get out of here. I need to run away. And she had to be gone.
Sweet girl. She's running away from her own shame because she already felt bad about it. Yeah. And so the affection right after is like a neutralizer.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And people will be like, you can't reward your kid with a hug after they hit their sister. And I'm like, actually you can.
Yeah.
And actually
bad for them too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and what I'll say to you too is your little one is probably going to be mad.
Oh,
because she's used to you being there and she's going to be upset. Aren't you going to get her in trouble? Aren't you going to tell her this? Aren't you going to say that? You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So you might get some of that because you're really going to try to unwind this victim villain paradigm in your house by really coming with affection and connection and neutrality. And then really having them speak. And then when you have them speak and you empathize with them, then you can ask them too, because they're the perfect age. What can we do to fix this, guys?
Yeah. I want to ask you, if you have achieved that and you've managed to connect with your, say in this instance, my aggressor, but how do you take an opportunity at all to address what happened and say, this was not okay? At what point in the repair can you address the actual issue and whatever it was that happened?
I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can address it later if you'd like. You can talk to them about it. I'm just wondering why. Why would you want to do that?
Oh, I don't know. I think part of that pressure might also come from my partner who has, a different view. Like, obviously, I know that Scarlett knows it's not okay. And yet the behavior continues. So you think to yourself, well, Does she really know it's not okay? Yes, she does, but I don't know. I'm talking in circles, but
No,
basically,
you're good. You're getting there. You're talking yourself into a good place here, I think.
yeah,
You know the answer already.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I typically don't hand out a consequence. I don't force her to apologize per se either. Like, apologies are hard when it's just, you don't want it to just be, I'm sorry,
Well, yeah, it's meaningless when it doesn't come from your heart. I never ask for the kids to
no,
apologize to each
no,
other. It'll come when it's ready, but I think with more like that's the other beautiful thing about coming with affection and connection and all these things when she's having a hard time and being aggressive
mhm,
is that it gets her to, because now she can't be mad at you for getting
right,
mad at her.
right,
She can't be mad at her sister because her sister was just, doing whatever. She only has an opportunity to be mad at herself now. When
right.
we get upset, we kind of usurp this, opportunity for her to sink into her own morality. And now she can be mad at us. So it might keep her from apologizing because she's too busy being mad at us.
Well, blame is a safe place to put all
Project.
your yucky feelings, right?
You reflect your shame right onto blame, right? To somebody
Mhm,
else's fault. And so if you are so neutral and so loving and so kind during this whole experience, she can only be mad at herself.
right. So then how do you, as the parent, because they can tell if you're not actually calm, even if you're pretending to feel calm,
Yeah.
as a person who, can be just as triggered in these situations myself with the
Yeah.
noise and the fussing and the, oh, what do I do? How do you get yourself in a position where you can truly be at peace when you're addressing
I
or
mean, now that's
connecting?
a whole nother podcast, but you have to work on yourself and you have to have a place. I mean, just in the short of it, like you have to have your own place for your feelings.
Right.
You can't have your feelings with your kids. Sorry, everybody. That's just not
Right.
not productive. And so you have to make sure you have we call it listening partners and connected parenting. We have listening partners. I always suggest everyone have a coach if you can. Like you need a place to have your own feelings and to get it all out so
Yeah.
that you're not trying to get it all out with them and that you can
Mhm.
come more self-regulated. Because if you've had an opportunity to have your feelings with an adult, if you've had an opportunity to talk about parenting and really get in there, then you aren't so pressure. It's not a pressure cooker inside your body as much.
That's a good
Plus, you got to
analogy.
work on your triggers. Plus, you got to work on taking care of I mean, it's like a whole myriad of things that it's not just about the sibling fight now, is it?
No, it's not. You're right. Yeah. No, not at
Mm-mm.
all. So a lot of time sort of getting to know myself in terms of what triggers me, what's going to help me in those moments, and then do the work and then arrive in the situation with the tools.
Yeah. And then it's like, I posted today something like, if my child's behavior angers me or upsets me, I know I'm in trouble
Yeah.
because something's going on with me. If I'm mad because my kids are fighting, that's
Right.
not about me at all. But if I'm getting to a place where I'm triggered, what is it? Is it the noise because I lived in a house that was super noisy and it triggers me back to my childhood? Is it that I had a bad relationship with my sibling and so I see this sibling relationship playing out? Is it they're not listening to me and I needed to be heard as a child because I was never, I mean, it could be a million things.
Yeah.
It could be all those
All
things.
of the above.
Right, exactly. And so it's like, where are you working on that? Do you have a listening partner? Do you have a parenting pedagogy? Do you have a coach? Do you have a program? Do you have a community? Are you doing the work?
Yeah. Everyone wants that quick answer, but you can't, it doesn't exist. Right?
No, it does not exist. There's no silver bullet. You can say X, Y, and Z, and no, I don't believe in that at all. First, it's mindset change, then it's working on yourself, then it's learning the tools, and it's implementing the tools, then it's working on relationship. It's a beast.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it really has to start sort of like before you almost have kids, you have to start getting to know yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, I went to 10 years of therapy before I had kids and I wasn't ready in the least.
Yeah.
And I worked in public schools for 13 years and I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
None of that
Yeah.
prepared
I have
me
a similar
because
story.
yeah, so things come up. You're like, oh, well, I didn't,
Whoops.
sibling rivalry didn't come up in my therapy when I was 25. I don't know why. Why?
Well, hopefully it doesn't come up in our kids' therapy when they get older.
I don't know. I hope not either. But we can't. Everyone's going to be scarred to some degree. We can't get out of that because our generational trauma it's still there no matter what we do.
Yeah.
And we can try and try. That's why I work so hard with people and I work hard with myself. Like I want to make it less, but it's still there.
Yeah. kind of like stretch marks. They never quite go away.
No, they're there.
But you're proud of them.
They're looking around. They're lurking around saying, remember?
Yeah. Don't forget about me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Shannon, this was so lovely.
Yes. Thank you so much for your perspective. It's very helpful to hear, someone outside of the situation kind of give you that clarity. So
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Well, I hope everybody can glean something from, something in there will be helpful. Thanks for joining us on the Peace and Parenting podcast. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks for having me.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to leave up holiday decorations year-round. Others have the need to use their garage as practice space for their new metal band. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.